welcome to the newest episode of Head Speaks, your home of all things geeky. I am your host, Aaron, Brother Head Moss. Let the show begin. Hey, dear listeners, Brother Ed here. Yes, I'm back. It's a new year, and well, hopefully we got new shows for you this year. Again, I'm going to apologize for the delays. Again, life. Again, I've gotten into that before right now. But we are back with a new episode, hopefully new episodes of all my shows. Since this is January, I figured this first episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about the previous year and what's coming. And then I got a couple of more segments. So first up, let's take a look at the shows for 2025. Over at Head Speaks, which is what you're listening to here on Head Speaks, I had 8 episodes I released this previous year. Not as much as I wanted to, but it is what it is. I looked at some of the stuff happening in the 1980s. I looked at a couple of the movies. I looked at the Adam special. And I started my trek on the Grant Morrison Animal Man series coming up later. Over on my G.I. Joe show, G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast, we looked at the G.I. Joe main comics, as usual, along with the cartoon. Over on the Energon Protocols, I continued releasing those episodes, the role-playing game from Renegade Studios. And over on Bravo Team, we looked at special missions, we looked at some more of the battles. And then also, during the year, I've talked with Michael Charles Hill, the creator of Cold Slither, and we listened as the Energon guys may or may not have committed some war crime. Again, we said then and we've said before, it's not a war crime. The first. Also, over on the Energon Protocols, we did have a special episode. We did it on YouTube where we listened to an episode and we gave our thoughts and some behind the scenes on it. And we have some more of that coming up this new year, hopefully. Over on Task Force X, I got looking and apparently only did 4 episodes. Anyways, but we did catch up on the Atom, who appeared over in Suicide Squad. Continued, last year's Head Speaks. So we did touch up on the Atom, and we did get some Task Force X and Squad good. Over on the Starbright Project, unfortunately, due to life and my kids' band stuff, we didn't get to delve into Sam or Ben's adventures. And I also completed my look at the Will Payton Starman book this year on the Starman Manhunter Adventure Hour. I finished up that show. So not a bad year overall. Again, I've enjoyed what I've been doing. I've enjoyed talking with people, especially the guys over on the G.I. Joe podcast. I love talking with Michael Charles Hill, again, the creator of Cold Slither. That was an interesting conversation. So, again, I haven't had any guests on here in a while. Unfortunately, I'd like to get some more, but we'll see what happens. But for now, that is 2025 for the Headcast Network. Now we're going to move on to what's coming out in 2026. Again, don't quote me on all this. This is what I got planned. So bear with me. Again, I'm trying to cut out the delays, but life happens. So here on Head Speaks, I plan on continuing looking at the Grant Morrison Animal Man series with my special guest, Shawn Marek. Are you staying with? Plus, we'll look at some more stuff from the 80s, some other movies, whatever else floats my boat throughout the year. It's really major plan for Head Speaks. Other than that, we'll see as we go along. Over on G.I. Joe, we are going to continue looking at the comic and the cartoons because that's what my main show there is about. We should hit the 2nd season this year with Arise, Serpentor Arise. We'll take a look at that hopefully this year. Meanwhile, over on Bravo Team, we're going to continue looking at special missions. I'll be slipping some more of the battles in there every other episode. And then partway through this year, I think, special missions should go monthly. Bravo Team gets special every month. And over on the Energon Protocols, in reality, again, we do it Thursday. We're coming up on the final episode or the final gaming session for this campaign. I'm not sure what's going to happen after that. Got plans for some of the other Joes running their own games in the G.I. Joe universe. But I do have enough to last through the year and into next year. So we will continue with hopefully some more special episodes of us listening and commenting on the show. We've got probably planned up this next month or so. I'll be posting G.I. Joe Facebook, so pay attention there. Task Force X should end in the next month or two. I was going to think I've got 4 issues left. I thought I'd do them all at one time, but I haven't gotten that. There's 2 episodes. Sorry. Well, yeah, 2 episodes, 2 issues per. So it should end the next, unfortunately. And the Starbright Project, again, is currently MIA, and I'm not quite sure the status. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts. I will keep you guys informed. If you guys are fans of the Starbright Project and Quantum Leap, please pay attention to this space, and hopefully I'll have some information come to you soon. But that's it for last year and this year. This is going to be a short segment, but not a short episode. Coming up next, we do have the first issue of Animal Man, again with my special guest, Shawn Marek. We'll be playing that. And then we also have some G.I. Joe talk before one of our games, episode 10, which I'm actually releasing this month over on the Energon Protocols. Before the game started, we got talking about comics and G.I. Joe stuff mainly G.I. Joe stuff. Just some geek talk. I'm going to play that here also. So I think what I'm going to do, since this is a short segment, I'm going to play the Geek Talk first with the guys from the Energon Protocol. And then I will do a little commercial break. And then we'll play the first episode or first issue of Animal Man that I recorded with Shawn Marek. So go ahead and listen along. Let me know what you think. Send me an email to head@headspeaks.com and check it out. And also, I'll throw in here real quick. My son on Saturday night, we do a D&D game, and he's broadcasting that on YouTube. Pay attention to my G.I. Joe page or here on Head Speaks, or not Head Speaks, but the Headcast page on Facebook, and I'll be posting links to those if you guys want to check out our adventures in D&D land. So that's really a lot of fun. See you guys after these next two segments.
Yo, Joe! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! Who you gonna call?
The Centurions are the visionaries.
I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm.
Geekin' with Head.
G.I. Joe!
I don't hear tables being thrown. I expected more excitement with the bowling ball debate.
Still love it, but he's not wrong.
It's okay. I feel the exact same way about Serpentor's air chariot and the Skyhawk.
Not the Skyhawk, too.
Yes, the Skyhawk also tries to defy the law of physics and would utterly fail at doing so.
Awesomely fail at doing.
It would. Not quite a bowling ball. The Trouble Bubble is designed perfectly to roll over top of itself. You have to get rid of that gun or maybe turn it sideways, but then it would go boop, boop, boop. And it would be like way more effective than the Buzzbore at doing what the Buzzbore is doing, which whatever that is, I have no idea really.
Yeah, I'm not going to defend the Buzzball.
The Buzzbore is where all debate stops.
I like the Buzzbore. Interesting, but yeah, I'm not going to defend it. Though I will defend it by saying at least it's not the Coastal Defender.
At least the Coastal Defender does not, well, actually, no, it would kill the person who is firing the missiles. Never mind. No defense. It would literally
If we're
kill the
eliminating
person
everything that
operating
would
it.
kill the person firing the missiles. We would run out of G.I. Joe vehicles pretty quickly.
Well, some of them, okay, yeah. No defense there. Like my favorite version of that is the Imp, because that absolutely puts that immediately in your face. So because they wanted to show that on the package art, they made it a Toxo Viper. So at least he's wearing a mask to prevent the 3,500-degree flames that would be shooting out directly over his face. So they have thought of these things.
Hasbro cares about its workers just like Cobra cares about.
So we're perfectly okay with everybody hanging off the side of these vehicles, traveling 50 miles an hour over rough terrain with one foot in one hand while they're firing a machine gun with the other? That's
They have
okay.
very strong
Yeah, that
hands.
one I'll go with, yeah. I don't see anything in OSHA about it.
But have you looked?
Well, I haven't actually. I get the training in like 3 weeks, so I'll let you know. All right, I got a scenario for you. Here's the thing. Let's say that you are on a missile-firing truck and you're hanging off it by 1 foot, but you've got a peg that connects to your foot. Is that safe?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering scale-wise, the pegs are like good 4 inches into their foot. Plenty of grip. Yeah.
It's good enough to keep my strapless backpack on. It's good enough for me.
I guess that depends on how big the hole in the bottom of your foot is. Too loose, you're going to slide right off that son of a bitch.
We figure the flesh has got to form around it a little, but I always thought that your jetpack was held on by magnets. You had like a harness on underneath the shirt, and then you would just clunk, hook on the backpack onto that, so it doesn't like ruin the look of the shirt with the straps.
Forget if I give myself straps.
Hey, who the hell invited logic into this conversation?
This was the stuff that bothered me as a child. Seriously, I would look at this and go, this is completely impractical. What the hell is this?
You're much smarter than I am even today.
I wouldn't say smarter. Smart has nothing to do with this, I don't think.
I think for me, it's always the discrepancy with missiles in whatever universe it was. Either the zero backlash of them launching or the actual damage they do. You know, some things is like just obliterate a building. Other times it's like just tinks off of a piece of metal.
Mhm.
Well, that was all part of Destro's advanced technology. That's why they always went to Mars.
Variable load missiles. Oh, wait a minute. That actually exists. Never mind. See, the dumber the idea is, the more likely it was to actually come from reality. I think I've done that like a dozen times where I go, who came up with this stupid? And I look down, nope, that was an actual prototype.
How's the Destro miniseries comic?
One of my favorites. Fun intrigue. It plays off the Destro and the twins as business people, which is like a rivalry we've never really seen explored for some reason, but it makes perfect sense. And yeah, they're introducing Destro interestingly. Somebody who really cares about what he's doing, but also cares about himself more.
Yeah, I think it's a really good look at the history of Destro, his business, and his family and everything.
And the new girl, assassin lady, is apparently on the cover of G.I. Joe #1. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Cobra.
Are you being vague about her name? Because we know who she is.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I simply don't remember.
Okay, it's Chameleon.
Okay.
So Ryan, I have a question for you. So why has G.I. Joe taken off so well and Transformers not?
In what regard? The role play game?
Just in regard to the release of the RPGs and the Essence 20 system and everything.
So, like the number of releases?
Yeah, it just seems like, I mean, I don't know a lot of people, so maybe it's different, but it just feels like Transformers is not out there that much versus G.I. Joe.
Yeah, well, I don't have any hard numbers. I could say that part of it might be that Transformers got delayed for its launch, so like just as far as release schedule, that would push everything along. And also, nobody that worked on the Transformers core rulebook stayed on to do other books. So, like, G.I. Joe had a lot of momentum because while we were working on the core rulebook, I was already thinking ahead to what future products could be. So it was just a matter of putting them on the schedule. Whereas Transformers, I don't know why, but nobody stuck around after, and that might have affected things.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, growing up, G.I. Joe probably had a bigger fan base than Transformers growing up, but it was pretty close, I would think. That's why I just wondered, like, what happened in this
Right.
release
Well,
at this
now
time.
Transformers definitely has a much bigger fan base. So the fact that G.I. Joe was even competing with Power Rangers and Transformers it was a surprise to me.
Yeah, but if you did have forward thought and more material planned out, that makes a difference. If you just release a core rulebook and that's pretty much it, then it's not going to draw as many people as having 10 supplements to go along with it.
Yeah, and Renegade really they reward initiative, and so when I come to them with products, it's something that they'll tentatively put on the schedule until they have time for it.
Nice.
Head Speaks will be back after these important messages.
Beginning at the ripe old age of 4 years old, seeing Star Wars for the first time, I became obsessed with the movies. What they were, what they did, what they meant. I turned that obsession into a career, climbing the filmmaking and storytelling ranks as a screenwriter, author, and television maker. Now, I'm taking you on a journey through the cinema that defined my generation, Generation X, in the Celluloid Heroes podcast. Examining the landmark films of the era from the well-known to the obscure to the unexpected, charting a history of cinema growth over the past 50 years, and looking forward to where it's going next. Celluloid Heroes is part memoir, part film analysis, and part exploration of the last 50 years of cinema through a Gen X lens. From the suburban adventures of Star Wars and E.T. the Extraterrestrial, to the Reagan-era cinema of The Right Stuff and Red Dawn, the sunny nostalgia that isn't of Back to the Future and Stand By Me, the year Generation X broke big with Reservoir Dogs and Dazed and Confused, the cautionary Los Angeles center tales of L.A. Confidential and The Limey, the last great golden age of blockbuster filmmaking with The Fellowship of the Ring and Pirates of the Caribbean, and concluding with the mournful ruminations of Inside Llewyn Davis and The Irishman. Celluloid Heroes will take a deep look at the themes, makers, and cultural context of this diverse array of films, and try to determine just what makes them so special to filmgoers, filmmakers, and to this fan in particular, as I chart a life through the movies that inspired me. It's also something of an autobiography of this young film fan who became a filmmaker himself, charting the good, the bad, and the ugly of a life in the creative arts with all of its triumphant moments and bitter defeats along the way. My name is Brad Abraham, and I welcome you to the Celluloid Heroes podcast, a proud member of the Long Box Crusade Podcast Network. Catch us monthly, and I'll see you there.
Worlds would live,
worlds would die,
and DC Comics would never be the same again.
Crisis on Infinite Earths, the crossover so epic it reached every corner of the DC multiverse. Join DC Dave
and Doug Adamson as we discuss The Monitor Tapes,
a Crisis on Infinite Earths podcast.
Find us on your favorite podcatcher and join the discussion at themonitortapes.com.
A long time ago, in a comic book rack far, far away. During the years between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, Marvel Comics kept the Star Wars magic alive, delivering bold new stories, expanding the mythology, and taking our favorite heroes and villains on unforgettable adventures. Now join me, the irredeemable Shag, and an ever-changing roster of guest hosts as we journey back to this incredible era. We begin with a comic adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back, and continue through the thrilling tales leading up to Return of the Jedi. If you're a seasoned Star Wars veteran who knows your Shira Brie from your Hoojibs, or a brave explorer venturing into these comics for the first time, this is your hyperspace lane to classic Star Wars adventure. Join us for Marvel Star Wars, From Empire to Jedi, every other month on the Fire and Water Podcast Network. Beginning in June 2025.
And now back to Head Speaks.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
In the great hall of the Justice League,
Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
the Justice League of America versus the Legion of Doom. This is What's in Head's Long Box.
Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind. The world's greatest super friends.
So this is What's in Head's Long Box. Again, I'm back this month with looking at starting the Animal Man series. Once again, joining me, he was here last month, we have Shawn Marek.
I've been sitting here for a month straight.
But yes, we're here to talk about Grant Morrison's Animal Man run. As we've talked about the last time, Grant Morrison did a great job on this book, but let's go and find out a little bit about this. So we're talking about Animal Man #1. This was cover dated September of 1988, but it was on sale May the 31st of 1988, the same year I graduated high school. Just how old I am. But let me see, the cover price of this was $1.25. The title of this first issue was called The Human Zoo. The writer of this was Grant Morrison. The penciler, Chaz Trog. I'm probably butchering that. Inker was Doug Hazelwood. Letterer, John Costanza. Colorist was Tajanya Wood. And this was reprinted a bunch of different places, apparently. It was an Animal Man trade paperback in 1991. The Omnibus
That's the one I have, yeah.
That's one, okay, yeah. The Omnibus hardcover in 2013. There was an Animal Man by Grant Morrison 30th Anniversary Deluxe Edition hardcover that came out in 2019. And then Animal Man by Grant Morrison Volume 1 trade paperback in 2020. And the cover of this was by Brian Bolin. A fantastic job. And the editor was Karen Berger. So
yeah,
first,
Bolin don't miss, man. I'll tell you that.
He's fantastic. He does. Yeah, I talked about the killing joke he did.
Right.
And I try to keep my podcast, family friendly. Yeah, I dropped the F-bomb on that. So, man, this is so effing good.
Yeah. No, there's that, but also he's got some really good Wonder Woman issues that he's done covers for.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff that he's worked on that I remember from the 90s that it's just a nice, like, he kind of, it's not as expressive as Kevin Maguire, but there's enough of just like a charm to it that makes me recall that, and just the way too that, and I'm not an art guy, so I'm not sure there's a better way to explain this, but everything is like the colors or just the textures, they're more of like a contour, not like you don't see sharpness to them. It just feels like it's just nice and clean. Like it looks like an action figure, kind of. It's just there's something like a good vibe to it, and I dig it. And I love this cover. I'm sorry, I'll let you do your thing because I'm just jumping into things here. But you talk about the cover.
There's the cover. It's got Animal Man running towards us in his jacket. And I never really noticed, but when I pull up closer to it, it looks like he's got blood on his face. The cover of this has Animal Man running towards us, and surrounding him, we have a wide variety of animals. There's a tiger, a rhino, a giraffe. I'm not sure what that red thing there on the side is.
Oh, that was like a crab.
Is that a crab?
It was like a crab or a praying mantis or some sort. You got one of those weird long-nosed monkeys. I forgot what they're called, but
gibbon, I think. I want to say
maybe it's a gibbon. There's a certain. It's a very specific monkey that you see when they're like, "Hey, you want to see some animals from Africa or something? You want to see something wild? Check out that monkey. You know, he's got a big nose."
Yeah,
but
I want to say it's maybe a gibbon, but I'm not. Again, I'm not an animal person, so
a mandrill. How about a mandrill? Could be a mandrill.
Possibly. Yeah. Again, I'm horrible at animal names, so yeah, it doesn't.
You're not an animal man yourself. You're
an animal man.
You are almost animal man. You like the comic, but you can't name the animals.
An animal, an owl, a snake, a bird of some sort, a giraffe, a bat.
This bird is green, or it's obviously the parrot. For a second, I was going to say, is that what's it say, Beast Boy hanging out back there?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a parrot of some sort. At the top, it says it's a jungle out there with the Animal Man logo.
It's a new format book.
Yes.
But I don't recall seeing this format, like the way the price is, where it's not like in an actual box or like a bubble or something that it shows, like it has everything there, but you wouldn't see it unless if you're picking it up. I feel like the only other one that really was doing that was, at least the one that I remember, was Legends of the Dark Knight, which came out around this time.
I think the new Titans or the new Teen Titans was going to the new format.
Okay. But those had like sometimes they would have like a certain like section. They would section off the box. You know, it just I don't know because I'm trying to look. I'm gonna look here in the future. We'll get to the future ones, but I found that interesting looking at that.
But yeah, no, this was as we were talking about new format books. It was if I remember right, it was a glossier paper, sturdier paper. It wasn't newsprint, and they were trying to transition some of their book, and it was a higher price because I think most books were about $1 at this time, but this one was like a little bit more because it was a better quality paper. So
yeah, the way that the price is on this, it goes up until issue number 6, and then it's the box on the left hand side as opposed to the right. The price on the right. And this is because this is the invasion books.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I love seeing that stuff. I love seeing the way that they would change that, and just I think it's ridiculous today that you can pick up a comic and not know exactly what month and year it's from. Or it just you see the number, but it just doesn't have that distinct date. Because I mean, like the way that I might order my comics. Obviously, I do a lot of it chronologically,
right?
But on my apps and stuff, like it'll ask for that stuff, and like I wish I could just look at a cover and see the month and the date and know exactly what I'm looking at. What year it's from, or where it's from. Even if it's from now, like that stuff is important,
right?
For collectors, you'd think that would make sense. That would be a thing they would do more often.
You would think so,
yeah,
but. There's a lot of things to do. I wonder about, but yeah, I recall there was a handful of books they were charging a little bit more for, and it was better quality paper and better print job on it because again the paper wasn't the new stock or the new stock whatever that we're used to. So the synopsis for this one: Buddy Baker, the occasional superhero known as Animal Man, decides that he wants to revive his career and become a full-time superhero. He plans to eventually join the Justice League. But first, he needs to start small. After petting his power of absorbing the special abilities of animals to some test runs, Buddy appears on a local television program. After his appearance, Star Labs requests his help when one of their animal research labs is broken into. The lab was demolished by someone with super strength, as evidenced by the bent metal doors. Also, many of the research subject primates have been fused together into a grotesque, amalgamated creature. And I got this from Mike's Amazing World of Comics.
Okay.
A lot of his podcasters use that one. Though I do notice here he fails to mention the subplots of, and I don't think we find out who he is in this issue, but there's some strange man going into San Diego with a helmet, which we'll find out later on more about him. So, Shawn, what are your initial thoughts on this first issue of Animal Man?
I really dig it because it gives you obviously the vibe of it is different than most other comics you're reading at the time that are superhero comics specific.
Right.
And right off the bat, you as an adult, I appreciate it more as an adult because I'm like, yeah, he's a guy who he's a Hollywood stuntman. He's trying to figure out his life. He says something about he's like, I'm going to be 30, something like he's around that age. And I remember what it was like when I was 30 and trying to figure out the hell it's going to be next for me. And he is like, well, I have these powers. Might as well take this on, and see what happens. And it's great. And it's just like also too, like the way that it's done. It's like a TV show because he starts off trying to grab that cat, and then eventually, we get into this actual plot of what he's trying to do. But then there's this thing happening concurrently, and then eventually those things are converging at the end of this issue or like the episode, and then at the very end, it's just something that you're not ready for the graphic nature of it.
Yes.
And you get a bit of that in the middle of the book when our mystery man is about to be mugged, and he takes down a criminal, but he like does it in such a way where you're like, oh damn, like I didn't think that was going to happen, or who? First of all, who is this guy? And it's funny because when you realize who this guy is, you're just like, is that guy? Like that guy did that. Like, but you kind of, when you read on about him, you understand what's going on with him. But yeah, I thought it was wild. There's a lot of wild stuff in there that just kind of catches you in a way that I think it really makes sense that they made this for mature readers down the line.
Right.
Like, because as an adult, I didn't read this as a kid. I didn't read this, when in my teens or whatever. But I feel like if I read it in my teens, I would have been like, yeah, that's kind of boring. That's kind of boring, Or if I was younger or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. What's this? I don't care about this guy's family, whatever. But when, or maybe it would have. But I think now it just has a real cool, gives me a cool feeling to dive back into it and just kind of snuggle up with it. If we're putting it.
Yeah. For sure.
I like to use the word cozy to describe a lot of things. And this book is very cozy.
I agree with that. I was 17 when this first came out, and I dug it. I liked, and I think reading it now is different than when I was 17 because now I'm a family man. I've got kids, I've got grandkids. So reading, and I'm an older man myself. So reading about this guy that he's starting to get a little older and questioning his life and what he's doing with himself, and trying to find his because again, especially back when we were growing up, it's like we need to find your purpose in life. You need to we hammered home on that. You need to find what you're going to do. You need to go to college. You need to do this. You need to, have a purpose. And, here I am at 55, half time wondering my purpose in life still is.
Yeah, no kidding. So. Yeah. Well, also just to kind of point that out, like him and Ellen, they both work in entertainment.
Right.
To a degree. So it's a thing where, this obviously was different in the 80s.
Right.
But for people to survive, in that sort of environment, and with those kind of jobs or whatever, or if it was a different way, because they have a house, like they're not living in an apartment, or they're not living in a condo, or they're not staying with family. Like they have a house, but they still have to figure out this financial situation, and they work in entertainment, and that as somebody who's been there, it's like, all right, you need to figure out, you're good at this thing. And you can do it for these places, and these people will have you on. But is that permanent? Is this going to be? Do you feel good about? How do you feel about the changes that'll come with it? And you get that right off the bat because Ellen's talking about her book, her kid's book, and there's obviously not just like what you're going to do, but what do you want to do?
Right, and that's what I said. It's again this Animal Man, Grant Morrison. He kind of he did the standard superhero stuff, sort of. But he kind of twists a little bit, and he, gives a little bit about Buddy's family, and we find out that just like me and you, they're struggling, trying for what they want to do, and she's like, "Well, I'm doing this." He's like, "But you really want to do this book, yeah? But it's not going to sell." And so, even as a 17-year-old, maybe I was weird, but I enjoyed seeing that side of the superhero life, outside of the costume with them, struggling to figure out what they're doing with themselves. And
it's unique. It's For the time period, just starting off with that and acting like, we're not just jumping into him like fighting somebody and him being like, man, I gotta think back to my life, a couple of weeks ago or whatever.
Right.
No, we're starting, we're building up to it, and it does a great job. This first issue does a great job just reintroducing this character. That was the goal.
Because this was his first series. I think it's probably his first appearance since the Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the book start. We'd only start with Buddy at the beginning. We start with the stranger walking, talking about monkey screaming, rattling the bars. And we show him walking towards San Diego on just the first page. Wondering like, who the hell is this guy? What's he up to? What's going on with him? And
he's leaking. He's dropping. There's liquid dropping onto his foot. But I'm assuming it's having a bloody nose from all that torture in his head.
Yeah. But we don't find out who this is quite yet. I mean, maybe if you're familiar with the character, you might recognize him from his helmet, possibly.
It's Magneto.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's right. Magneto is coming to DC Comics, guys. Get ready.
Yeah.
Magneto's coming to San Diego, guys.
Careful, watch out. And I do like our first introduction of Buddy. Again, like you said, he's not in a costume. He's not fighting crime. He's saving the neighbor's cat. And, he's in the tree climbing. And the neighbor's like, watch out so you don't fall down. And he grabs the cat. The branch breaks. And we see him use his powers to absorb, the cat's ability to land on its feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was an interesting way of showing what his powers is without going into an info dump.
Yeah. He's not thinking about doing it. You just kind of get these circles behind him, like this vibe,
right?
This whatever, and it totally makes sense, because you're like, okay, he's a guy that has animal powers, so you kind of can glean that he has something to do with animals from the cover. But then you have this panel where it's like, okay, he's doing something with those powers.
Yes.
Poor woman.
Like her husband's sitting there. Morris. He's got this hat on his head, covering his face, trying to take a nap, holding his drink, and he's a wonderful human being. Now, will you get off my garden and give me some peace?
Get off my lawn, he says.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a nice taste of humanity, the way that these people are integrated into this story. And his neighbor references her other cats, one of which is missing.
Yes.
Which we find more about later on in the series, and it gets kind of nasty.
Maybe it comes up later. Maybe that's referencing it. Interesting. But yeah, and I do like, like it could be laid out as a TV series, and they're setting up plot points for later on. They're dropping, it could just be, just a bit of dialogue she just threw out there, or maybe it'll come back up later and actually be a plot point later on that they're seeding right now. So yeah, Grant did a great job on that.
Yeah.
And when Buddy's in the kitchen talking to Helen, and they've got the Rolling Stones cover with Captain Atom and Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, and Mr. Miracle on it. The current
what an issue, by the way. You see this? Yeah. So you got Superheroes for Africa. So Mick Jagger is involved somehow.
Yep.
He's there. And you got the JLI or Justice League America or whatever it was at the time. So you got Captain Atom and Booster and Beetle and Mr. Miracle. But also in the same issue, Bon Jovi, Heart, and the Vampire Lestat. What a loaded book.
That would be a great issue to have, I think.
I need to. Is there an interview with the Vampire Lestat? Because I'm there for it. I want to know what he has to say.
Yeah, see, he's referencing the JL. Yeah, so this was the JLI. This was right before they changed to the Justice League America and the Justice League Europe books.
Right.
So yeah, this was the JLI era.
I adore this. I love this. This is a line here where Buddy's like, I mean, look at Blue Beetle. What can he do? And as somebody who didn't really, I don't know much about Blue Beetle, but I know about him, but I'm like, what can he do? He doesn't do anything. He's just a guy that has a gun that looks like a hairdryer.
Yes.
And also he's very good at doing exercise, doing flips at this time. He's a good gymnast.
Well, I know when he appeared in Crisis, he had very much the Spider-Man poses going on, and
yeah, but it's not this. Yeah, but I'm like, but exactly, like just that's kind of how I feel about some of these guys.
Yeah,
look at that guy. Yeah. Also, I gotta say, and we'll see another one of these later, but Ellen's shirt just says "World's Greatest Mom."
Yeah.
So I assume that this is the day that they wore their shirt, that the family, most of the family, or half of the family wore the shirts they won at the county fair. So it's fun to see that because she's making a nice salad. But
yeah.
Buddy's drinking beer-flavored beer, by the way, at some point.
Yeah, then we find out more as we go along that, they are more vegetarian because of Buddy's connection to the metamorphic field and animals.
Yeah. He does it. I remember that issue, though. He does it in such a way where it's like, when you're married, you kind of have to talk to your spouse.
Yes.
Maybe you should be cool about that instead of doing what you
Yeah, and we'll get to that. But yeah, no, definitely. And real quick in the chat, a buddy of mine, Dave Martell, he's in there. He says, "Hi guys."
Right on. Hello.
Joe role-playing game stories. He's part of the Energon Protocols, the G.I. Joe role-playing game I'm on. And he says it's the first time he hears about Animal Man. He's happy to hear about from me.
Oh, well, that's great. That's how you learn about stuff like this. Man.
Oh yeah,
it's the best way to get granular and just but also it comes from a certain appreciation, and you can tell when you talk about stuff like this.
Oh yeah. No, I love introducing people to especially great stories and great characters like this. But no, as we've talked about, they've got the average, family life. Ellen's complaining about, he spent $800 on Animal Man costumes. They've only been out of the closet for like 8 times, which is probably the 8 appearances he had previous to this.
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, he bought those back in probably in the early 70s.
Yeah.
So that $800 sounds about right.
Yeah, and again,
for the quality of costume, I guess.
Yeah, and back in the days, that's quite a bit of money for
That's a lot of money.
70s or 80s money. Even nowadays, it's a good drop. But yeah, back then especially,
it's like wrestlers getting wrestling gear.
Yeah,
like when they have to go to a certain guy. I wonder if there's a certain guy. I wonder that would be a fun show if the showcase was still around. It was having or you have like a backup of the guy where all the superheroes go to get their stuff done. To get the gear done. You guys need boots. You guys need tights. You need a top. You need something like sometimes because there's certain and I'm a big wrestling fan, so there's a lot of ways that wrestlers they go to certain people for their gear.
Right.
They have a way. Some people can really stand out, than others, and I imagine it's like that in the superhero world.
I know that one time in the Flash, I think it was a Flash comics, there was a costume designer for the superheroes, Gambini, I want to say, or something like that. If I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, there was. In fact, I remember that was it the CW show or was it the 90s Flash TV show? There was made a reference to it.
Oh, I kind of vaguely remember that. It was like that in I think Daredevil or She-Hulk. They alluded to like a certain designer or somebody making
Daredevil
stuff.
did too. Now that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are, again, they don't get enough love, I don't think. But yeah, there are designers for some of these heroes. So I do like when they do mention, things like that. And we don't really get that here other than he paid money for these costumes, but I can imagine he wants someone like I want to say it was Gambini. I think it was the first Flash series from the 90s.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, when Barry first took off, he crashed into a laundry truck for Gambini's. If I recall, it's been a while since I've watched that, but that's what I
remember watching it when it first came on like years ago.
But yeah, then we get the introduction of their kids. When Maxine walks in, her brother's like, Tarzan doesn't have a monkey pinhead. It's chimpanzee. And Mom's all, what did you just call your sister? Don't you dare call her a pinhead again. Overprotective mom, protect her daughter.
Yeah, her Clippy here, the proto Bart Simpson.
Yeah,
coming in here, wearing the other shirt they won at the fair, where it just says "Heavy Metal Hero."
Yes,
I'm like, okay,
very much. Yes.
I'd buy that at Hot Topic. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. And then when Cliff was opening up the milk jug, I was looking at the back trying to see if I could discern anything from the missing thing on the back because I'm wondering.
I thought that was you would think that might be like a thing in the future.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, I don't remember if this comes up, but I'm sitting there looking at trying to see if I can discern anything from the missing kids on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I do like, we get a little bit of their home life. We've got the kids arguing because again, you get brother and sister, they're going to argue. Take my word for this.
Oh yeah, and she also Maxine has a drawing because that's where the monkey, the chimpanzee comes from. The comment from Cliff, and she has a drawing of her dad, and I'm assuming it's her dad standing next to a monkey, or some guy standing next to a monkey, or it's Tarzan. No, she says it's Tarzan.
Tarzan and his monkey.
Yeah, okay. So it's Tarzan and it's next to a monkey, and Buddy's focusing on it, and we kind of fade into the next part of this issue
Right.
with this mystery man.
Yes, that was a nice fade in the way that they focus on Buddy looking at that chimpanzee, and we hear the word, we see the panel screaming above it or whatever, the thought balloon,
Mhm.
and then we cut over to Mystery Man still talking about monkey screaming, Scar screaming. It doesn't know I could do this. Talking about a star, and that's where we get he pulls the
What
helmet
does this
off.
star have to do with anything? Did you remember? Does that come up later?
I do not recall.
I don't
offhand.
recall that.
So I don't recall what the star he's referring to is.
Yeah,
I'm
it's just like a star, like straight, like spray painted on this back in this alley he's in.
And that's what was that supposed to be spray painted, or was that something he was seeing? I wasn't quite sure about that.
Soundless images, contracts into focus. Oh no, I think he's hallucinating it. I think there's something he's saying. You're right. Yeah, he sees a random star.
But that's where we bring in the mugger coming into him earlier with the gun that you mentioned earlier. How quickly takes care. Come on, man, turn out your pockets. Let's keep this nice and let go, He just punches the guy's hand, punches his face, and again, this is still it's not made out a code approved book. They're still trying to keep to code approved, if you will. So we don't see him actually bashing his face in. It's kind of going off panel, which is the force bubble or force whatever is coming off his face as he punches him. But then he throws him out in the street, and we see his hands shattered and his head's just a big pile of goo on the ground, basically.
Yeah, he messes this guy up pretty good. Like he must have punched this guy, and his head must have like exploded.
Yeah,
it was like a Tyson uppercut or something.
I don't think he can be robbing anyone in the future, but
no, he's not gonna be doing anything. He's not gonna be living in the future. This guy's dead.
Yeah,
this guy's a goner. Yeah, but it's crazy too because I'm not used to seeing this mystery person do what they're doing, like that. Like I'm just used to seeing them do the thing that they're known for.
Right.
I'm trying to be vague because I know it's you're going to eventually introduce him in your future episodes, but so I'm used to seeing them do it, doing what they do differently instead of actual combat. It's weird. It's weird when sometimes certain heroes do combat. Does that ever? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like watching Dr. Fate throw a punch. Because they can do it, like it'll work, because they have some sort of thing, but like
they usually do something different.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's like watching Spider-Man pick up a gun to shoot somebody. That's not what Spider-Man does,
No,
he's fight.
It's like I look at the '90s when the Hulk would have big guns, and you'd be like, it's like, yeah, he's smart. And the crazy thing was, he was smart Hulk, so he would know at the time. He'd be like, maybe I don't need this, but maybe I just want it.
No. Well, me and the wife was out shopping yesterday, I think it was, and there was some strawberry shortcake thing she wanted. She's like, I don't need this. But it's not really about what you need. Sometimes it's about what you want,
That's right.
I don't need all these G.I. Joes I've got here, but I've got them.
You can see this whole thing. I don't need an entire select collection of Guy Gardner figures here, okay?
Right.
But I like Guy Gardner. And I'm gonna make a point to find the Guy Gardners and have them here, and that's how it works. That's what makes me happy. As long as I'm not becoming a nuisance with it,
right?
You got to know your limits. I think that's where people get into troubles. They go, well, I needed this. Like it was like I watch other collector shows and that and one of the times was this guy he bought a block of wood that they used to hold the molds for the packaging. But he bought this block of wood for like $800.
Jesus.
And it's like, you don't need that. Because how can you tell anybody that what it is? Like, you could be like, oh, look at this block of wood. This is what it does. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not, no, who cares?
Yeah, I think some people get silly throwing it sometimes. But like again, we've referenced them before. As Shag is wont to say, find your joy.
Yeah, 100%.
As long as it doesn't hurt other people, if it makes you happy, go for it. That's one of Shag's big things is, find your joy. I know I mentioned before my Task Force X podcast, I originally was covering the Suicide Squad's earlier appearances before they formed. It was like the Brave and the Bold when it was, the earlier Rick Flag and all that. And
okay,
I kind of started covering those, but I wasn't quite as into those because it was like Golden Age and early Silver Age. And it was kind of goofy. And I'm like, I don't want to keep covering these or not. I want to kind of cover everything. And Shag's like, you know what? If it's not making you happy, don't do it.
No, there's no point in forcing yourself to talk about a book or talk about anything. Like or even reading. That's the thing, because I got all these trades, and I'm like, I want to read through my trades. I want to capture. I want to get into all the stuff that I have here. And sometimes I'll start reading something, and I'll be like, just I'm not feeling it. I don't. I have it, and I'm glad that I have it, but I don't. Maybe I need to come back to a different time, or I just need to give it up because it's not it right now.
That's why I covered the first couple appearances in the Brave and the Bold, the Task Force X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wasn't feeling. So maybe I'll cover these later on, but put to the side right now, and I'll get what I really want to talk about is the Suicide Squad. So, so Shags is want to say, find your joy. That's the important thing. If it makes you happy, it doesn't hurt anybody. Tell them. But and then book get back to Animal Man. We get the next display of his powers where he absorbs the powers of a spider.
He does. Yeah, he gets these spider powers like a certain other character.
Yep.
And shows off for his wife, and his wife gets rightly freaked out because he's picking up this Jeep they have. She's like, "Don't drop it." He's like, I mean, just because you could doesn't mean you should in this case.
Yep. And again, very, very much of a family life, husband, wife. The husband's picking up this. She's like, don't you drop that. That's our vehicle. Don't you dare drop that, you son of a.
Yeah, right.
So I love the way Grant Morrison did the dynamics and the interaction between Buddy and Helen.
Yeah. They feel like a real couple, and she feels like the kind of woman that is reacting to a man that is wants to be a full-time superhero and that has these abilities.
Yes, very much so. And then the next couple pages is him testing out his powers, and we get to find out a little more about him.
Yeah.
He can absorb animals nearby, and the power only lasts for half an hour before or so until he has to reabsorb the powers again.
That's an interesting bit, and I think that works because you get to know, you just assume that he could just hang on to those powers for as long as he wants, but there are limitations. He is a human man, imbued with alien technologies, and we don't. Who's to say that it's going to be perfect? So I think that's interesting. That I like him testing this stuff out. It's very much like it's like a film kind of thing where it's like you got the hero tying them stuff, getting used to this new reality.
Got the montage at the 80s music, and because he's
he's going to Siberia and start doing sit-ups in a frozen barn and whatever.
Yeah. But I do like how the fisherman said, I've been fishing. I ain't seen no one out here for a while. He'll show that he pops up out of the water.
Nothing's biting today. Your husband tried to bite it a few times, but I don't understand.
And then we get him flying with like an eagle on the next page.
I like this drawing of this eagle or this bird just kind of like, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
what are you doing? I do like I wonder if it's part of the training or if it's just a thing where like him and Ellen were like, hey, let's take a hike, and then I'm gonna take our pack for the day, because he's flying. He actually looks really cool because he's wearing like jeans and like a nice cuffed shirt, and he's got like these 6 sunglasses on, and he's got a nice little backpack, and it's just he looks bad. It kind of looks badass. In the
80s, I'm assuming the Ray-Bans.
Oh yeah, he's got the wraparounds. He's got the Oakleys.
Yeah.
He's him and James Worthy got to play basketball later.
And I'm assuming they're going on different places. On day 3, they're out in the desert.
Yeah.
She's like, are you sure it's a good place? I don't see very many animals out here. You're just not looking.
They had to go very far out. I'm trying to think how close the desert is to San Diego.
Sure.
I guess if you go more east, that's where you hit those areas. Because there's cactuses here, man. Straight up cacti.
Yeah, well, at one time, L.A. and San Diego was desert, so I don't think it's too far to get back to desert. Because
well, we figured it's like by the coast. You think he might have been like on did something like by the water, but maybe he's trying to keep himself undercover here. So
yeah, he went the other way. And they're on page 15 when he's running, and Maxine's in the back of the Jeep, and shows our banana peel. And we see him running up towards the banana peel as the page cuts. I was expecting him to hit that. I expected something to happen with that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Deleted scenes.
Yeah. I was surprised we get a mention of that, because he goes run towards the banana peel, and then we turn to day 4 where he's swinging in the trees with his buddy. What was his name? Roger.
Roger.
Yeah. So I'm surprised we get more about the banana peel, but
Yeah, I thought there would be something there, the way they kind of focus on it. Because you do see Maxine throw it
yeah.
in that previous scene. But yeah, I wonder.
Running towards it, and then a close up with the banana peel. So
like, don't do that again. Daddy could hurt himself. Yeah. But yeah, he's hanging out here with his buddy Roger, who it turns out to be his next door neighbor, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the other side.
The other side, and they're just learning about
this manager. He needs a manager to get out there, and
something I just noticed. Buddy has in this one panel here that you could see, just for one panel, he has bandages on his face.
Yes, I've missed that the first time reading through that. As you were talking, I went, wait a minute. Oh, okay. So I guess that is.
So maybe he did slip, and we didn't see it. Yeah. But it's weird because like later in the next panel, or like the second panel or whatever, he doesn't have anything, so he looks completely normal because it's all this him just talking to his buddy and being like, hey, you need to get your face out there, and he's like, all right, put you on this Dick Griffith show. We're gonna go on UHF, and you're gonna show yourself off to the San Diego public. Good morning, San Diego, whatever.
Yeah, so I guess that scene of him hanging upside down at the bench, I guess that's the follow up to the banana peel incident.
Ah, yeah.
Very, very subtle. I said I missed it until you started talking about it. I looked at the page again. I'm like, oh shit, wait, okay, yeah, his face is banged up, at least in that one panel. So I mean, just to give something to complain about, I guess it would have been nicer if they would have carried that forward to the next panel down below, because you don't really see anything on the next panel below that when he's talking about being on TV,
right?
And then we get more of our mystery stranger, our mystery guests at Star Labs down San Diego. Again, Star Labs was the science place that they always turn to in all these comics.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised they didn't put the little box there to tell you what star meant.
Yeah,
that they love doing that.
Oh yeah, and I love when they do that. I love editors' notes and when they refer to when something happens in a previous issue and they refer to it for a while. And they brought it back, and they referred just like trade paperbacks more recently.
I do feel though when I'm reading like Superman comics from like the 70s, it's like every issue he's done so in Star. They're like, by the way, guys, I'm like, yeah, I know it's okay. I don't even care. I just know it's Star Labs, all right?
Right. But it's nice for if you're first time reading it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So because as Stan Lee has been quoted as saying, every comic's someone's first. So
it's true. Yeah, but so our stranger here has a bit of the bubbly, and he's something's happened to him. He's getting transformed, and I do love that. It's a nice simple thing of the security guard in the foreground, and the character is just on top of this building, just very small, but he's there, and I dig that. And and so something does he? Does he do something to the security? Whose hand is this on this Star Laboratories?
I believe it's his. I believe it's a mystery guest, I want to say.
Okay.
I believe he's tracing his hand long as he's looking at it, I want to say.
Right.
I could be mistaken on that. But yeah, I'm assuming it's his hand as he's going to Star Labs, kind of running his hand along the building.
Right.
Is what I'm assuming.
So yeah. Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. I don't think he's trying to be too much of a too conspicuous,
right?
He's trying hard not to do that. He just he had to make that one guy into jelly because he attacked him. But other than that, he's fine. He's fine. He's just I'm just here to make a mess.
yeah, and he'll get more later on. But yeah, definitely.
We're moving on to day 5.
Yeah, yep, day 5. They're watching Buddy's appearance on the
Dick Griffith.
And again, that I don't know if these supposed to be consecutive days, but that's really quick for him to record one day, and then be. I guess maybe I don't know.
Well, it's probably like a what day delay or whatever. But actually, if it's day 4, so you assume that whatever this conversation is happening. It looks like it's happening in the morning, I guess, because the sun's really high, and so maybe he was like, "Hey, I can get you on that show today. They tape at 4, and they'll air tomorrow." So it's the magic of entertainment.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I haven't done anything with Hollywood and all that. So I guess, maybe it's quicker than I thought it would be.
Yeah. So, but they refer to him as LA's newest superhero. So
I was noticing that too.
Scott Smith, just geography wise, I guess it's not a San Diego thing. It's more of like a Southern California thing. Yeah. So he's on some sort of Southern California variety show of sorts. And he's there with this guy, and this guy's got John Davidson hair from the Hollywood Squares, and it's a pretty wacky appearance.
Yeah, and I believe he's probably supposed to be a cross between who was it, Merv Griffin and I can't remember the other one.
Griffin or
this is the Dick Griffin show, so I'm assuming it's Merv Griffin combined with something else.
I guess Mike Douglas. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of some of the other big names at the time that were doing those kind of shows.
Yeah, but I like how they're playing. He's doing all these comments, these jokes about it, but he's like, "Hey, they're cutting all the good stuff," and his wife's just like, "The human zoo."
Well, he's not. But also too, they literally just were like, "Hey, man, you want to come on the show? Great, come on, say hi." And then this guy makes a crotch joke. This husband's a crotch joke, and then they're like, "Okay, that's it." I'm like, what was the point of that? Like you'd think he would come out there and be like, "Hey, so I'm feeling like I'm feeling like a spider. Let me lift up this Buick in your parking lot or something."
Yeah, I'm assuming the kind of stuff he did because he complains they're cutting the good stuff out. But
right.
I find it strange. Yeah, they cut all this other stuff, and it's just Dick Griffin making these stupid one-liner jokes and what have you.
Yeah, it's not great, but hey, any publicity is good publicity, I guess in this case.
Yeah, it worked here, so
yeah. Because 100%, actually 100% worse because somebody. I think it's great because I'll say this is you, man. Let you explain what's going on here.
But the next page on day 6, where he's in his costume, is that where we're going?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And again, as you mentioned earlier, he's got his jacket on, and I believe this is where, he talks about how it gives him stuff to pet his money and pet stuff, and it looks cool.
It looks cool. The jacket really works.
Yes.
And I think it's just a small missing piece that you don't think you needed, but it makes sense, that he needs it, and it just fits with the rest of his costume. It just happens to have that black, blue kind of gimmick going on. I do want to point out here, so son comes in, he's like, "Hey, I got a call from my buddy Roger that Star Labs wants to hire me because they saw me on this show." So I'm just trying to figure out that Superman is out of the picture.
He's busy,
completely unavailable. And we're talking San Diego, we're talking Star Labs West. So, you either can talk to Green Lantern, but is he reliable? Maybe not. He's a space guy. He's got stuff to do in space. You need a local guy. Oh, I was just happening to watch Good Day LA. There's a guy in there that for about half hour put his head under the sink and didn't drown. So he must be a real good guy to come in and check out whatever this is.
Yeah. And I was just looking real quick, and right now in Superman,
This is 88, so yeah.
It's part of the introduction of the Supergirl saga. It looks like.
Oh yeah, he's busy.
Supergirl in from the Pocket Universe.
He's like, "Hey, I can't. My cousin's in town. I'm busy."
Well, it was before he was his cousin, or after.
Oh, this the plasma. When she was the plasma or whatever.
She came from a Pocket Universe, and it's protoplasmic blob.
Well, probably a thing where it was like, this is really weird. This girl that I may or may not have known and watched her pass, before all this stuff got changed.
Right.
She's here, and I need to deal with this.
I'm busy.
Call the other guy.
Yeah. But also in this, there was Starman, but he was in Arizona, so he was relatively close-ish.
Oh yeah, that's right. Will Payton.
Yes, I covered that over recently on my Starman.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I covered that whole series.
I should check that out because I got scattered issues of that, but I do like reading. It's actually kind of in the same vein as this.
Yeah,
there's some similarities to it, and I do.
I covered that and the Manhunter book. It was around the same time. The Mark Hunter.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's another one. That mask, that Manhunter mask, the Dumas, whatever, the Order of Dumas or whatever. That is a wicked mask, man. That is such a cool look.
Yeah, no, I covered that, and then when I ran out of Mark Shaw books, I just covered just the Starman. And I just recently ended that one.
Nice.
Again, I like all these niche little superheroes that no one else cares about.
These are the ones you need to talk about, man. These are the ones. It's the true forgotten League of Heroes, and those are the people I care about. Because I identify with them sometimes. When I'm feeling left out, that's how I feel.
Oh yeah, it's the Starman.
When I'm the third 300th down the list, you're calling me as Star Labs. So to figure this out.
Star Labs didn't have a whole lot of heroes on the West Coast they could call. So again, we didn't see what his powers were in the show, but all they need, it's a superhero. He's in San Diego. Hell, let's give him a call.
He's close. He's super close. He doesn't.
Yes.
He doesn't. You know, we don't need to reimburse him for fare, even though he flies.
Yes, he's right
He
here.
flies. Does your comic this thing here when he's off to work and he gets the vibe from he gets the Iggy from the bird so he can fly?
Right.
Does yours have a coloring error?
Which coloring error? I mean that panel, the bird's white
panel here where for some reason his jacket is also orange. You see that?
Oh yeah, I didn't catch that, but yes.
I think obviously it's an error of some sort, but it just
that's scan. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it's blue on page 19, and I didn't catch that. But yeah, on page 20 on both those panels, his jacket's turned orange all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's weird.
I guess that's how good Ellen kisses. It kissed the blue right out of him.
You got rid of my blues, Ellen. You are quite the gal.
Yeah, I get his buddy flies off the next door neighbor Trisha. Your relationship's in there too, huh?
Yeah, right.
And again, I gotta say, for Shag and my buddy Kevin over my G.I. Joe podcast, Trisha, hot.
Oh yeah,
she's
quite the number for this kind of book here.
Yes.
She is babed out, and this is like kind of like the second-ish joke about packages.
Yes,
I know you said we're trying to keep this a family-friendly podcast, but
yes,
she makes a shooting blanks joke.
Yeah,
like we're married with children or something here. I don't know.
He always had delusions of grandeur. He thinks he's a big gun, but he only shoots blanks. Wah, wah. And that's when we go to a commercial break because we got the joke there. Oh, this was a TV show.
You're right.
But
Studio audience goes wild.
Yeah. But I like how Ellen's like, well, is Roger serious about all this manager stuff? And she's like, I don't want to bring Buddy down, but Roger's serious about everything about half a minute.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really. I don't know. I mean, I forgot exactly. I got to go back and maybe skim more over what else happens with this guy because I think doesn't it kind of plays. He plays this Roger fellow continues to play into like the first.
Yeah, I believe so. Again, I haven't read these issues in decades, but this is my first time reading them in quite a while. Just other crap to do, but I do remember I loved this run, so that's why I wanted to cover it. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Right on.
And then on page 21, we get these guys shooting birds. Blows the bird's brains out and just leaves it laying there.
Oh man, I like the way that these guys are drawn.
Yeah,
because they're mostly wearing just like solid colors. Which is kind of how I dress these days. And then you just have this one guy there, just like Arlie Ermy. It's like full metal jacket, and there's also a dog.
Yeah, it's a Doberman back seat. Well, back seat at the cage area in the very back.
Yeah, they're just having this weird, and they're riding in a station wagon.
Yeah,
just being a bunch of nuisances because this guy is like talking like, "Oh man, I get to hang out. I don't get to hang out. I get to hang out with the guys, not my wife. I get to do this shooting stuff." And I'm like, these guys get way worse later, and it upsets me knowing that where this goes.
Just get rid of that woman and her damn yakking all about Blake and Alexis and Christ knows what all. I feel like a kid, man. I feel free, free as a damn bird as he drives off as the bird's laying there dead. And yeah, since that's all that's happening here, we know that this is going to come back later to have something happen. So it's definitely setting up for future issues.
Yeah.
And then we end with the reveal of Buddy going to Star Labs. And he's like, yeah, why don't you just call the police on this? Someone just broke in. Why you need a superhero? But before that, he's, like you mentioned earlier, he's like, frankly, we were hoping for Superman's help, but he's apparently this is one of his busy days. It's like,
that's true. They do mention that. Yeah.
He's like, we wanted Superman, but he's not available. So, you'll do. Like, gee, thanks, jerk off.
Yeah. We were in a hurry. I mean, come on. I mean, honestly, what would Superman do? What would Superman? I mean, would Superman look at this? You know what Superman would do? He would take whatever this is,
right?
This Kronbergian nightmare, and throw it into the sun. Because that's what Superman loves to do: is throw things into the sun.
Yeah.
He cannot get enough of it.
Yeah, doesn't learn his lesson. But anyways, that's for a Superman podcast. But. Again, if you're looking for a Superman podcast from this time frame, I know Mike Bailey and Jeffrey Taylor does the From Crisis to Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I haven't listened to podcasts in a while. I was busy at work, but I loved the From Crisis to Crisis podcast because again, that was my era of Superman.
Right.
Triangle.
Right.
I loved what they did there. But Yeah, he said he's working with primates, apes, monkeys. And that's where he's like, why didn't you call, if it's just a break-in, why not call the police? Why is this? I love that on page 23 as he's walking in. Why is this a superhero job? As he's looking at this place throughout, metal door, thick metal doors broken off the wall and bent to hell and back.
There is stuff strewn all over the place, just trash and liquids.
And that there could tell you why it's a superhero job, because you got all the stuff broken, these metal doors just crunched up and broken.
Yeah.
Then we get to the shocking final page where we see these monkeys, chimps, whatever they are, one giant mass of goo, if you will.
This is gross. It's not just that they're stuck together, but Chaz Truog here, the way that he draws this and the way that it's colored makes it even more gross, because it's not just like a bunch of brown monkeys stuck together. It's like you got orange and you got pink, red and yellow, and it's all together. And the monkeys, like some of them are just heads. But some of them are just the half of the bodies being hanging out. There's this one here right in the foreground here.
Yes.
The front here that is hanging out. It is not cool.
And I have to say, the art between the artist and the inker and all that, they did a fantastic job on this.
Oh, 100%.
If you look at the faces on these monkeys, you can see that a lot of them are in pain. They're like screaming, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you can tell that they're suffering. So, I mean, again, I'm sorry for these monkeys, but as a comic book, they did a fantastic job drawing these. So you got to love the way that, and again, it's kind of a great splash page for the final page of the series, of the issue, to end on here and dun dun dun.
Yeah, I just like when Buddy asks that question, and then they walk into this room, and the doctor's just like, this does.
Yeah, it just.
And he's like, what am I going to do? What do you want me to do? I'm going to imagine these monkeys and try to take their powers. So does that make him extra strong? If he could,
I don't know, or would it make him? I don't know if that, or if he absorbed their trauma also.
Oh my god!
But,
oh my goodness!
Yeah, I know these first couple of issues, Grant likes to end on a not only a cliffhanger, but also just a very graphic image, which we'll talk about next time. I believe it was second issue. Also ended on a very graphic image that just wow. So yeah, that was the first issue of Animal Man. So I'm looking at a digital scan. I don't have my actual comic in front of me, so I'm not sure it was a letter page. Probably not a letters page at this point. There may have been. I think there may have been a.
No, I don't got a letters page in my book either.
Was there like a page from like the writer or the editor or anything on it, or
there in the very beginning of this trade? No, there's nothing like that. Although the very beginning of this trade, there's a letter from Grant Morrison talking about why he did this and all that stuff. So yeah,
no, it was the first issue of Animal Man. Like I said, I read this. I say it may have been this month after it came out. I may have picked this up with issue 2. I might have picked this series up early on though. But yeah, I thought this was a fantastic start to this series.
Yeah,
and again,
it's a great punch, right off the bat. And I think Grant Morrison, just the way he reintroduces his character, and it's just got so much charm to it, just so much familiarity. But also he's a new guy, but he's not new. And it's just, what I mean? Like, we're not starting completely from scratch.
Right.
And we're throwing things into a weird realm, like right off the bat. And so, it's really cool as this series goes along, these first couple issues go along, you see the way that he utilizes his powers to get himself out of these situations that he kind of ends up in because he is so inexperienced,
right?
Because he's not.
Like you're saying, he's been around for a while, but he hasn't done a lot. So
right. Oh yeah, he's just he's rusty.
Experience. Yes, there you go. That's he's got the not necessarily inexperienced because he's been around doing it for a while. It's just he doesn't do it very often. So if you don't do something, you're going to get rusty on it. So
yeah, and it costs him pretty dearly in a few instances here, coming up, and you never really know where it's going to head next. And eventually, with the thing that you're using for your background here,
yes,
like it just gets into these weird situations that you're just like, man, we're going for something different here, and it's supposed with this guy who just collects animal powers and he's able to use them. It's just it's not like this complicated character. He's got a very basic it's everything after that makes him complicated. His powers himself, like they're just like okay, this is what he does. You know what he does. But how do we make it weird? How do we make it interesting? And Grant Morrison does a great job. And man, the art, like, I think Chess Chirag is fantastic. The way that the fate, the people's expressions are, stuff like that. But I also want to give a shout out. I just love the way that it's lettered. I don't know why, but I noticed it feels like the way that the lettering is. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just feels different. And
I didn't think about that, but you don't get a lot of the letterers don't get a lot of credit. They're usually like the unsung hero, but unless it's done poorly.
Well, if it's done bad, it's like a pro wrestling match, and the referee, when you have a match, it's not just two guys, it's three guys, because the referee is kind of like the guy that's keeping everything in order, so that in a certain way, so that the show can continue. Right. And when you have a bad referee, you know it. But when you have a good referee, you don't even notice it.
Yeah, same way like the way.
Yeah.
You give shout out to the writer, the inker, penciler, sometimes the colorist. But yeah, the letter doesn't get much love. But yeah, when you have when you have a bad one, it can make a world of difference. So it's good giving that shout out to especially when they do something good. Because I don't think they get enough love.
No, not totally, but they do a good job here.
And I fall in that myself. I don't give the letter enough love myself unless something really stands out, or something's really horrendous. Which because like I say, the letter, if they're doing the job right, you don't really notice what they're doing. It's just part of the issue, and it's just
makes it all work.
Yes, yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you have anything else to say about the first issue of Animal Man,
I'm glad you had me on to talk about it, because I just jumped right into it this afternoon, and I was like, man, this is the realness, man. This is how this is what good comics are, and it just feels good. And maybe we'll talk about it on our show, and we'll get real dirty with it.
There you go.
Because that's the thing. That's the thing about a lot of shows, comic book shows, drop the words that we do, but we'll go into it, and this is something that I don't know if we've ever covered Animal Man on our podcast before. We definitely had him like appear, but this is something I would love to just because I know Jen's never read this.
Oh, okay.
And her reaction might be, given the way that everything it goes and stuff like that. Like I know it'll be a lot of fun. So this actually kind of gave me a bit more of like a urge to do that.
Very nice. And speaking of which, if people want to hear more about you and from you and Jen, where can they go?
Of course, go to Worst Collection Ever. That is our podcast. You can find us on all of your podcatchers, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, youtube.com/Worst Collection Ever. You could just type that into the search bar, and we've got all of our new episodes. There's a playlist that has all the episodes updating, so you can just subscribe to that playlist or just keep that playlist handy, and you'll get new episodes on YouTube. Also, I'm on all the socials at Angry Hero Shawn. SHAWN is how you spell Shawn, and you can find me on anywhere, pretty much anywhere. You can find me there, and just see clips from our show, or I don't spend a lot of time on social, but I do spend enough time on there just get the word out about the show, and I would love to interact with folks and talk about podcasts or talk about comic book stuff or podcast stuff or whatever. It's just or collecting, because we do talk a lot on our show about just comic books we buy, but also like action figures and stuff like and things we watch on TV. And so it's our show has we do like half of our show and it's just us bullshitting. Sorry about that. But we just vibe, and we just kind of get that. You get the stuff out about, like, oh, we bought these books, or we went to this convention, or we saw this or whatever, and just things that blow our minds or during the week, as far as pop culture goes or comic books go. And, it's a lot of fun. And then we get into the book and we say completely disgusting things about comic books. It's seriously, like, I like to describe our podcast as we're to kind of quote George Carlin, we come from where the buses don't run. We,
yes.
We just kind of put our, we do our own thing. And, I think more people, if you're looking for something a bit wild, like, I don't know if it's wild. We're not wild. Say we're wild. We're not Animal Man wild. No, but something a bit more, like just people getting real freaky comic books or something like that, I would love to have you guys join us, and would love to hear what you guys think, because that's what's beautiful about doing podcast stuff, And I know, Aaron, you find your joy, you talk about cool stuff, like I listen to your GI Joe stuff, and it's just the appreciation for the subject matter is it's there, and that's what's really important for folks that want to keep that stuff. Like it's not so much like you want to be people need to remember it, like that was stuff that was important to us. It's not just so much as like, oh, we liked it. It's like, it's what shaped our cultures.
Oh yeah.
It's what made people the way they were. So like, if you were a kid that liked GI Joe, but you also liked Animal Man, you never know that that was just part of the genetic makeup of what it was to grow up at that time.
Oh yeah.
And it's really important that we keep doing that.
Oh yeah. And like I said, I don't like to mention his name too often. I'm afraid like Beetlejuice or some other demon is going to pop up. But as Shags, me and Shags talked about previously, I think the golden age of comics personally was like from 85 through 95. In my personal opinion, that was like the golden age of comics. I really loved it, and because that's when I got into it. And it just, I thought both Marvel and DC was hitting on all cylinders. There was occasional stumble here or there, but for the most part, yeah, DC and Marvel was both hitting on all cylinders. We had, the Professor Hulk, as we talked about earlier. All these books, I'm good. G.I. Joe. We had, Animal Man, Starman, The Manhunter, Suicide Squad, Checkmate. All of these books I cover. If you look at my shows, for the most part, you see I have a particular time frame. Even Quantum Leap that the wife and I do was 89 through 95. So, that's, I've got a particular era that I really
It's a cozy spot. That's what feels good, man.
Outside of that, there's the Voyagers. Me and the wife and I did. We all saw the TV show Voyagers back in 82, 83.
Okay, I don't remember that.
Season. It was a time travel show. The wife had 20 episodes. The wife and I covered that on a podcast called Voyagers Cast. That was a great show. But yeah, it's all right in this time frame is where my love is. Like Shag says, find your joy. So,
oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Thank you very much for joining me. Like I say, I can be found on the Headcast Network. My website is headcast.headspeaks.com. I'm on YouTube. I've got both my G.I. Joe and my Headcast Network on there. Look for those. I'm on Facebook mainly. I do a lot of stuff with my G.I. Joe group there. I have Blue Sky.
Behold my Night Force sneak peek.
Oh, very nice.
He's not very good in the paint, but I do have it. Or I'm going to be selling this. If you want to buy this from me, you can buy this from
me. Very nice. I'm on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Instagram, but I don't do anything on there like I should. I'm working on that. And real quick, also from the chat on this issue, Dave Martell says he noticed many hockey references.
He gets it. He gets it. I think he said referees or hockey references. It was references or referees. I missed that. I think he said referees.
Referees. I can't read today.
Yeah, referees. There you go.
Hockey referees.
He gets it. Yep.
So there you go. But thank you very much, both Dave and Heinz, for joining us here. Like I said, I'm going to do this more often. I'm going to, again, if now that Shawn's been on one of my shows, if I can talk about coming back again.
Dude, you want to come on and talk about some G.I. Joe or whatever, man? I'll kick it with you, man. Let's party, dude.
In fact, next Sunday at 1:00 California time. I'll be recording episode issue 66, G.I. Joe, and talking about the cartoon Skeletons in the Closet and Knock on Wood. I should have a special guest, Flint Dilley, the writer of the episode, and he did a lot of G.I. Joe, the cartoon back then.
Nice.
He's supposed to be on there with us. So,
right on.
So, yeah, definitely anytime you want to come on any of my shows, especially the G.I. Joe or whatever, let me know. I'm definitely up for having you, and I'll get with you soon for doing the next issue of Animal Man.
Oh, right on, dude. That sounds rad.
And until next time, I guess that'll do it. This episode of Headspeak. Again, we played the Animal Man first issue. We talked a little bit some geeky stuff, and I gave you on last year and what's coming up this year. So I do want to say thank you, everyone that's been a part of the show, everyone that joins in either on the website or whatever. I don't get very many emails, but I want to thank everybody that supports the shows, any of my shows. I love you guys, and here's to more in 2026. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Until next month, remember, Head has spoken. thank you for joining us on another great episode of Head Speaks. I can also be found rambling on other Headcast Network shows, such as the Task Force X Headcast, where I cover all the appearances of the Suicide Squad and Checkmate comic books from the late 80s, early 90s, over on G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast, where me and my guest hosts look back at the comic book and TV series from the 80s. And in addition, we also have Bravo Team, where we look at other G.I. Joe related paraphernalia. And over on the Starman Adventure Show, where I reread the Will Payton Starman comics and talk about them, once again from the late 80s. In addition, myself and my wife Michelle, along with our friend from the land down under, Hayden McQueenie, talks about the TV show Quantum Leap monthly over on the Starbright Project. All of the Headcast Network shows can be found on your favorite podcatcher or at my home on the internet, which is at headcast.headspeaks.com. Over on Facebook, X, and Instagram, look for Headcast Network. And please feel free to email your bitches, moans, and gripes to head@headspeaks.com. Also, feel free to email any compliments you have. If you want to record a message, you can send it to me at head@headspeaks.com, and I'll play it on the air. And be sure to join us next time for another fun-filled Headcast from your friendly neighborhood brother Head. And be sure to tell a friend. Until next time, I'll see you in the funny pages.